Mikko, also of Canada.
Here is Bent Gustafson against Igor Larionov of the Soviets, and we're underway. Kazatonov, number 7, firing it in for the Soviet Union. Krutov couldn't get it, and it was quickly fired out of there by Team Sweden as Naslund shot it down. Kazatonov trying to get away from the forechecking of the Swedes. Now it's ahead to Makarov. He breaks in, and Anders Eldebrink, number 25, blocked his shot. Eldebrink to Gustafson. Got it into center ice. Larionov dropping it to Fetisov, number 2. Here's Fetisov to Makarov, dropping it back to Krutov. Stick handling in a little deeper to Makarov, but he's checked. Then Sweden come up with it. Albeline gets it, but also a hooking penalty called against Team Sweden. And the Soviet Union will have a power play chance. Gustafson to the penalty box.
Well, some close checking inside the blue line. One of the things that they say about Sweden is they spend a little too much time worrying about defense, and they start to clutch and grab a little bit, and in this case they clutched and grabbed a little bit too much. There is the starting goaltender for the Soviet Union tonight, Sergei Melnikov. Yevgeny Belosheikin started the last game against Canada, but it's Melnikov who's become the number 1 man. They seem to want him in the big games.
Here's Larionov, shoots. Lindmark a save, and then quickly Thomas Jansson for Sweden clears it down the ice. Fetisov and Kasatonov back as the point man. Larionov, Makarov, and Krutov up front. Here's Fetisov working it in. Soviets with the man advantage. Fetisov at the point to Kasatonov. Shoots one, deflected. Rebound, they poke at it. Krutov scores. Krutov. And the Swedes are arguing that play should have been called, but I believe the goal by Krutov will stand.
I think it will. I think they're arguing that it was covered up, but it never was covered up in the goal mouth area. Lindmark got a hand on one of them. So jostling in front of the net now as here's the first shot. Down it goes. Now it lies loose there. He got a glove on it, but he couldn't hold it. The argument was that he got it in his glove, but definitely not. That's the 5th goal scored by Krutov in the tournament. So he's right there with Mario Lemieux right now. Here again, as the shot comes in from the far point. A good save right here. And then he reached back, got his glove on it, but couldn't hold it. And Krutov got in there to put it in the net.
Tough break for Lindmark on the play, and Krutov gets the goal. Bergqvist back for Sweden. His shot right on. Turned aside by Melnikov, and the Swedes try and work it out in front, but cannot get it done. Soviets working it on the point, held in again by Sweden, and the shot by Mikhail Kelvin blocked it to the fence, and now the Soviets with Verbuchen fire it down into the Swedish end of the ring. 1-0, a power play goal by Krutov. Here's a lead pass on right wing for Håkan Södergren. He shot it in, but the Soviets right back, and Hovatov clears it into center ice. Bekov couldn't get anywhere, and it's dumped back in by Sweden. Going back is Gusarov, number 3, for the Soviet Union. His clearing pass broken up. Gusarov picks it up again anyway. Feeding it in onto the wing. They dump it in, and Albeline is there. And the Soviets, Pedersen, trying to move it out. Couldn't, and here's Tommy Albeline. Number 3, Albeline, headed for the Quebec Nordique. Shoots one. Save made. Melnikov cleared it away, and then the rebound was shot wide. Here's another chance for Pedersen. Shoots one. Rebound. Another save by Melnikov on the rebound on a great close-in try by Tom Eklund. 2 back-to-back saves by Melnikov. Here's Pedersen for Sweden, trying to center. Broken up, and Bekov, number 27, to Kasatonov. Now into center ice to Kamensky. He's checked by Albeline, and Sweden clears it to center ice. Fetisov to Bekov. Now ahead, in a cross for Himalev. Into the corner for Kryakin. He can't get it center. And Gustafson for Sweden clears to center ice. Kasatonov chasing back. Fires it around to Fetisov. Over on the far side, Himalev. Now in their forechecking, the Swedes with Mats Naslund, who was decked back up again. Sweden trying to center it, and in control, Magnus Rupe, number 24, to Naslund. Naslund on the boards to Rupe. Rupe shooting it around, and Kryakin clears it, and then Fetisov flips it out of there. Here come the Soviets on the attack. They drop it around on the point, and it comes all the way back into center ice with Verbuchen having to go back and control it. Now Makarov, number 24, to Semak, number 18, moves in. Shot wide, knocked away by the Swedish defense, and Lars Carlson clearing it around on the boards. He got it out of the zone, now cleared back in, but Swedes take over, and Thomas Jansson has it. Jansson into center ice. To Naslund, now to Rundqvist, he's checked. And the Soviets start back. Makarov, number 24. Makarov checked by Kent Nielsen. Here's Nielsen taking a loose puck on the right wing boards. Moves in, shoots one. Milnikov, a glove save, and he held onto it, and we get a stoppage. This is the Levac Canada Cup on CTV.
Power play goal, the difference in this game, but Sweden has been right in there. Here's a chance by Eklund right in front of the net, and a great save. That was the second in a row that was made by Milnikov, and they're playing it tough. Watch Mats Naslund get decked right there on that play by Humalev. It's tough early. Shots on goal, 5-3 favor Sweden.
Sweden with a line of Rundqvist, Nielsen, and Sundstrom up front against Semyonov, Lomakin, and Svetlov. And this line for the Soviets in this tournament has probably been their best line, even better than the famed green unit. Here's Kelvin at his own blue line with a rink-wide pass. Now it's fired in by Peter Anderson for Sweden. Milnikov setting it up there, and Gusarov fires it into center ice. Semyonov to Lomakin, number 23. Lomakin around Kelvin, but back-checking is Sundstrom for Sweden, and he has the puck back of his own goal. Carrying out, Thomas Rundqvist fires it in for Sweden. Back for the Soviets, Igor Stelnov, number 4. Stelnov to Gusarov. Back for Makarov. He's decked as he moved out, and there's going to be a penalty here against Sweden on the play. The penalty coming up against Södergren. This is the Levac Canada Cup on CTV.
Canadian teams have learned this. Swedish teams have learned it too. A little too aggressive inside the zone. Checking on Makarov, and Södergren is off for holding. Their second disadvantage of the game. And Soviets have scored already on the power play.
Soviets with Makarov, who's out on right wing on a line with Bekov at center and Kamensky on the other wing. Kasatonov and Fetisov on defense. Here's Kasatonov carrying it in to Kamensky. Around to Bekov. Number 27, Bekov. Can't get it centered. Sweden trying to clear it out of there. Failed the first time. Now they do the second time, as it's shot all the way down the ice by Anders Eldebrink. Makarov is out there on an unfamiliar position for him. You always see him with Lomakin, or at least with Larionov and Krutov, but right now he's out in another line. You don't see the Soviets do that often. And it's cleared out by Sweden. Racing after it is Albolin. Fetisov there to take him out. And then when the puck is touched, play is called. And we're going to get an infraction because of the puck being hit by a high stick.
Well, there's Big Fetisov, the team captain of not only the Central Army, but the Soviet national team. 6'1", 200 pounds. You can't hurt this guy. They tell me they check him, and it's like checking into a brick wall. You just bounce off. Drafted by the New Jersey Devils a few years ago, and the Player of the Year in Europe in 1982, rather. That means that he was not only the most valuable player in the Soviet Union, but all of Europe.
Now Makarov stays out there and is joined by his regular line mates, Larionov and Krutov. Here's Kasatonov. Soviets on the power play to Makarov, cutting in. Trying to center it. Right through the goal crease. Into the corner. Makarov trying to get it again. Gets help from Larionov to Kasatonov. Number 7, Kasatonov. Shoots one. Stick save, Lindmark. Makarov the rebound. Back to Kasatonov. Return to Makarov. Side of the net. Krutov, number 9. He's a big sniper for them, as has this game's only goal. Back to Kasatonov, shot wide. Makarov, number 24. On the boards to Petisa. Back to Makarov. Johnson couldn't clear it. Here's Makarov in front. Kasatonov shot stopped by Lindmark. And then cleared away by number 15, Kent Nielsen for Sweden. 10 seconds left in the penalty. Soviets leading 1-0. They already have had a power play goal. Here's Larionov, number 11, to Petisa. Tries to center around for Makarov, who stops and checks in. And Bench Gustafsson clears it away, with the Soviets changing on the fly and back to get it. And controlling it for the Soviets is Hovalev. Now they drop it back. And the teams are back at full strength as Verbuchen comes to center and dumps it in. Lindmark shooting it around onto the boards. Telvin, rink-wide pass to Peter Anderson. He got it into center. Samak knocks it down, and now number 22, Sergei Pryakin is checked. Swedes come back. Here's Matt Anslin. Anslin, number 26, can't get it in front as he was tied up on the play by Fedotov, number 14. Now Rupe in the corner, trying to center. Here's Gustafsson. He's checked, and the Swedes hold it in again, but now the Soviets break out and come to center ice. Pryakin, number 22, trying to center it, did, but quite a hit put on the man in front of the net, and back comes Naslin. Matt Naslin trying to center it across. Nobody there, and Fedotov, number 14, rink wide for Gusarov, number 3. Shot into center ice, Nielsen knocking it down. Now it's kicked in, and Womacker, number 23, hustling in. The Swedes take over, and Sundstrom shoots it around on the boards. Here comes Sweden out of their own zone. Just clearing it into center ice. Now dumped in deeper by Sundstrom. We've played 9 minutes of the first period. Back to Stelnov, number 4. He's jolted with a check. And now the Soviets break out. Here's Semyonov, number 30. With Lomakin, and Lomakin stepped in ahead of the play offside. This is the Levac Canada Cup on CTV. This program is protected by copyright. Any use of this telecast without permission is prohibited. 1-0 in favor of the Soviet Union. An earlier power play goal. Krutov from Makarov and Kasatonov at 1:09. Sweden, meanwhile, has been trying to do some bumping against the Soviets. Here's Thomas Johnson back in his own zone for Sweden. Round on the boards, Makarov holding it in. Makarov couldn't get it in front, and now Sweden breaks back with Bergqvist, number 18. Bergqvist over on the left side for Lars Carlson, and his shot was blocked, but it was offside anyway at the Soviet blue line.
Well, you're right, Dan. A major portion of the hitting in this game so far has been by Team Sweden. There's Håkan Södergren. He's a kind of a tough guy in the Swedish league. He had 60 minutes in penalties, Dan. Horrors. And in Sweden, that is a lot. Of course, you don't have the misconduct, so you don't have the fighting over there, so that's probably 30 penalties in a 36-game schedule. That is a lot of penalties.
Now the Soviets with a line of Bekov, Kamensky, and Homotov. And they carry in. Here's Kamensky. Broken up by Carlson for Sweden. And now cleared into center ice. Long shot by Södergren right on. Milnikov to save. And back to get it is Stelnov. Round on the boards, and here come the Soviets. Bekov, number 27. Fires it in. Lindmark is out of the net to clear it. Good play by Bekov to hold it in, but now Bergqvist gets it and fires it down to the Soviets' end of the rink. Kasatonov is back after it, number 7. Soviets changing on the fly. Here's Krutov. Lofts it at center ice, and back comes Mikhail Anderson, number 12. Anderson working it now to Pettersson, number 21. Lead pass into center ice, shot in by number 19, Peter Anderson. Digging in, centered out in front, off a skate, and then Pettersson's shot deflected off to the corner. Trying to work it in front. Mikhail Anderson, backhander right through the goal crease, and Makarov has it. Back they come. Petisa to Kasatonov. Kasatonov centered in front. Makarov just missed on a tip and try. And now Eklund for Sweden. Into center ice for Pettersson. He drops it back for number 4, Tom Eklund. Eklund, who had the big chance earlier in this game. To Peter Anderson. To Gustafsson, number 16. Off the boards and fired in. Pettersson couldn't catch up with it, and Fetisov has it for the Soviets. Soviets leading here 1-0 on an early power play goal. Now Naslund to Gustafsson. He's checked. And Samak has it for the Soviet Union, dropping it back for number 5 for Buchan. He tried to clear it in. Back comes Naslund. Naslund for Sweden. Checked in the play. Now Rupe back of the net to Naslund out in front. Backhander. Rupe gets it again. Rupe, as the penalty's coming up against the Soviets, backhander deflects into the corner. And indicated as Gustafsson on the delay penalty. In front. Backhander. Oh, and Naslund is drawn by Milnikov. And now the delay penalty will be called against the Soviets. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV.
Bryakin goes for slashing for the first time in the game. The Swedes are going to have a chance to play with the man advantage. Watch the lower right of the screen. You'll see the slash right there. Well, Bryakin goes, and now under fire will be Sergei Milnikov.
He's been under fire already, particularly moments ago, and he made another big save on Matt Naslund.
He's one of those players that does not play in the Moscow area. He plays in Chelyabinsk, which is in Siberia, which is his home. He comes to the Soviet national team. He makes a long road trip.
Sweden 4 for 20 on the power play in this series for a 20% average. Back in their own zone, controlling it, Peter Anderson, number 19. Sweden trailing, but on a power play here. Anderson to the other Anderson, Mikhail, number 12. He fires it in. Milnikov out of the net. Fired around by Stelnov. Now Omotov clears at the length of the ice, and Sweden has to retreat. This is number 19, Peter Anderson. Anderson trying to work it out on right wing to Mikhail Telvin, the Boston Bruin defenseman. Omotov ties him up. Now on the boards, Gustafsson dropping it into his own zone to Kent Nielsen. Sweden with the man advantage, but can't get on track here. And here's Beckhoff stealing one, but Peter Anderson had to hustle back and cover up. 57 seconds left in the penalty. Here's Sweden with Naslund on right wing, firing it in. Digging in, Kent Nielsen. Knocked it behind the net. There to get it, Gusarov trying to clear it. Held in by Sweden. They have the man advantage. Here's Nielsen with a drive, and that's blocked by Gusarov, and he clears it to Lomakin. And number 23, Andre Lomakin, shoots it down the ice. 30 seconds left in the penalty. Long pass to Naslund. Feeding it over on the left wing to Eldebrink, number 25. Now shot in by Team Sweden as Nilsson shot it in, or Thomas Johnson shot it in, but it's cleared right back out by Fetisov, and we're down to just 10 seconds left in the Soviets penalty. No real action at all here by Sweden on the power play. They fire it in. Bergquist racing in, but Fetisov took him out. Now to Semyonov, broken up. Bryakin is back on, so the Soviets are back at full strength. Sweden, however, controlling. Carlson back of the net. Anders Carlson, number 20. Gets some help from Sudergren. Now Carlson trying to work it in front. Can't get it done, and the Soviets, Fetisov, cleared it to center. Here's Lomakin with Semyonov. Shooting Lomakin. Semyonov banned on the rebound. And Sudergren cleared it on the board. Semyonov dropping it back. Soviets cleared into the corner, but Sweden takes over. It's 1-0 here in the first period for the Soviets, and they completely shut down Sweden on that power play they just had. Sweden hardly ever got the puck in the Soviets' end of the rink. Here's a lead pass to Kent Nielsen. Nielsen, number 15 for Sweden, out in front. And wide open with Sundström. He banned on it. Now a drive. And Albalene shot is wide of the net. Here's Makarov taken out of the play. And the Soviets drop it back to Dotov. In control to Krutov, number 9. Krutov wide by several feet. Larionov into the corner to Krutov. To Makarov. That's Johnson tying him up. Makarov continues to battle, but two Swedish players. Johnson cleared it. Now held in by the Soviets and fired around in the boards again. Less than 5 minutes to play here in the first period. 1-0 for the Soviet Union. Larionov working it over to Krutov. Now back to Fedotov, number 14. Rink-wide pass as the Soviets now just work it methodically to center ice. Here's Larionov leaving it there, and now we're going to get a splashing penalty back behind the play. And against the Soviets, Makarov. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV.
Just went 4 minutes without a whistle, Dan. You think you're working hard tonight? You're right. But we also may see the fastest period in history. We have had 1, 2, 3, 4 penalties called. We've had a goal. Each of those a stoppage in play. Only 3 other stoppages besides those. In other words, for mistakes in play, for offsides and so on, only 3 stoppages in 15 minutes. Actually, 16 minutes now.
And one of them for the Soviets going offside. And you usually don't see them do that. Here's Sweden, who couldn't get anything going at all on their last power play with the man advantage again. There's Naslund digging in. Gusarov takes him out of the play. Puck still loose on the boards. Back of that net. Gustafson trying to get it to Mats Naslund. Naslund in the corner. Back on the point. Here's a pass into Gustafson. Shot back on the point. Save. As Carlson moved in and got his shot, Milnicott made the save and then covered up with the rebound. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV.
Well, you can see why they like Milnicott in the key games. Magnus Rupe was the guy who had the best chance. He's number 24 directly in front. Here comes the shot by Carlson. Now, Rupe's right there in front, now reaching back behind him and grabbing it and hanging on. You don't really get a good angle of it there, but Rupe was very dangerous directly in front of Milnicott.
Still a minute 20 left in the penalty to Makarov of the Soviet Union. Here's Gustafson ready on a face-off against Bekov deep in the Soviet zone. Get Nielsen dropping it back to Eldebrink. Now into the corner to Naslund. Naslund is checked and fired out of there by number 15, Andrei Homatov for the Soviets. This is Lars Carlson, number 6 for Sweden. Headmanning to Naslund. Quickly ahead on the far side for Kent Nielsen. Try to drop it to Eldebrink, but the Soviets are able to clear it out, and Nielsen has to drop back. Kent Nielsen leaving it for Carlson. Dropping it for Naslund. Now Carlson again. Long pass ahead to Gustafson. Played it off the boards, but didn't fool Kasatonov, who clears it down the ice. Number 25, Anders Eldebrink. Used to play with Vancouver, briefly with Quebec. Ahead to Eklund. He's checked. And Bekov gets it, and the Soviets then fire it down the ice for Vukin. The Soviets are killing off these penalties with ease, Ron.
Well, Sweden is a very cautious, conservative kind of a team. They'll look for an opening even on the power play. If not, they just maintain a kind of a defensive posture. But they're noted for coming back.
There was another rush for Vukin, broke it up. Sweden tries again. Long shot, and they go offside this time. Just 4 seconds left in the penalty to Makarov of the Soviets.
Reminder that coming up on our first intermission, we're going to have Team Canada co-coach Tom Watt is here on a scouting mission. Michael Burgess, the anthem singer, has done such a great job here in Hamilton. We'll be joining Dan Matheson. Brad Park will be around with the highlights, and we'll have the Toyota scoreboard. There's Vasily Pervukin, the veteran from Moscow Dynamo. Pervukin, kind of the old man of this team now, and probably will not be available come next February when they play the Olympic Games.
31 years old. The Soviets usually don't have players that old.
No.
But cleared around in the boards, and it's going to be Telvin going back to get it. Got it before it crossed the red line, trying to clear it out. Stelnov moving in, held it in, and now Sweden break it out. And here's Pettersson after a loose puck. He's onside. Pettersson shot it. Milnicop stood his ground and made a stick save. Kyle Anderson, number 12, trying to center it. Larionov has him tied up. Now Eklund for Sweden. To Lars, Gunnar, Pettersson. He's checked, and Gusarov clears it off the boards into center ice. Minute and a half left in the period. Telvin back for Sweden. Sweden trailing in this game 1-0. Here's Telvin off the boards into center ice, and it's dumped in by Sweden, but Tisop is there to clear it right back out. Now Bergquist over on the wing, carrying in his Södergren, number 22. It's shot back out by Krutov. And now a Swedish player down on the ice and injured. Carlson, I believe it is, and we're going to get a penalty for high sticking against one of the Soviet players. The injured player is Anders Carlson. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV. Who gave it to him? Larionov.
Anders Carlson was high stick by Igor Larionov. Here it is. Carlson had to get the stick up. Larionov more a cross check than a high stick perhaps, but whatever. Referee Don Koharski was right there, and they called him for it. High sticking in 19:01. 59 seconds remaining in the first period. The Soviets leading 1-0 on a power play goal of their own.
This is going to be the third straight power play for Sweden. And if it's anything like the previous two, the Soviets are in no trouble at all. The Swedes had nothing going at all on the previous two power plays.
Well, again, I have to emphasize the fact that Sweden plays a holding kind of a game. They are looking for an opening. They may have two shots on goal, and they may eventually go in the net. They look for the good chance. Otherwise, they're just trying to hold the Soviets off, as it were. And there's a great deal of controversy in Sweden among coaches as to whether this, in fact, is the way to play the Soviets, or whether you should aggressively go at them and try to play them the way Team Canada does.
Here's Mats Naslund. He got the center as far as he could get. Now shot in by Carlson, number 6. Puck back to the goal. Out in front. Back on the point. Eldebrink shot is blocked. Nielsen after the rebound. To Eldebrink. Side of the net. Sweden trying to center it. Naslund into the far corner. Now to Gustafsson back of the net. That Gustafsson got it in front. Milnicop dove across and covered up.
Well, there's our friend who took that little shot from Larionov, Carlson. He is alive, I can tell you that, although you wouldn't know it by that. There it is, he blinked. You're going to have a black eye tomorrow. Either on the flight home or the flight into Montreal.
Meanwhile, 19 seconds remain here in the first period. 1:21 left in the penalty to Larionov of the Soviet Union. Sweden's forward line, Gustafsson, Naslund, and Kent Nielsen.
Kent Nielsen, by the way, Dan, playing in his last international tournament. He says that this is it. He will not play for Sweden again. So this is kind of a last hurrah, maybe his last international game for what was a great career.
There's Eldebrink flipping it around on the boards. Gustafsson to Nielsen, shot up high and wide of the target. Gustafsson battling with Pervuka. Soviets cleared. Eldebrink shooting. Milnicop got a piece of it, and it trickled off to the corner. Good chance there for Sweden, and now, just as the puck is cleared out of the zone, first period comes to an end. Krutov had the only goal, an early power play goal for the Soviets. Milnicop did the rest as he blanked Sweden. And after one period here at the Kops Coliseum, 1-0 in favor of the Soviet Union. Despite that, Sweden outshot the Soviets 14-7. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV. trailing 1-0. Starting off on the power play, they're already 0 for 2 with the man advantage tonight. Here's Eldebrink, number 25, going back to pick it up. Sweden on a power play. Eldebrink dumps it in. Krutov back to get it. Naslund tried to steal it. Now Fetisov trying to clear it out. Eldebrink held it in. Naslund back of the net, but Pasatonov checked it, and Krutov clears it away. And the Swedes have to retreat. Lindmark feeding it over for Albeline, number 3. Tony Albeline, who's ticketed for the Quebec Nordiques this coming season. Now Gustafsson, who's back with the Washington Capitals after a year back in Sweden this past winter. Gustafsson clearing it in for Naslund. Naslund cutting in, centered off the skate, and then cleared away by Fetisov. Loose puck and a breakaway for the Soviets, and a big save by Lindmark. As Krutov got a loose puck and walked in alone, and Lindmark had to come up very big. Krutov came from nowhere to get that breakaway. And it's cleared away by Sweden. Penalized player back on the ice, so team's back at full strength. Here's Fetisov shooting it to center. Now Sundstrom trying to get it into the zone. Can't. Well, Mackin dropping it back, and here's Semyonov, number 30, ahead to Pryakin, who's lost his helmet. Pryakin taken out in the far corner by Carlson. Now back on the point. The Dotop shot is blocked, and number 9, Rundqvist has it. For Sweden, he's bottled up on the boards. What are they saying down there? You figure that out. Here's a loose puck. Wires Carlson trying to clear it out. And it comes to center ice. Fired back in. Carlson breaks it up again. Now Rundqvist, number 9. For Sweden. Long pass ahead. Kent Nielsen racing in. But Fedotov is there to touch it. It's icing against Sweden. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV.
Goaltenders starring early in this period. Peter Lindmark there in the Swedish goal, but it was Sweden who had the first chance in this sequence. Chased to the outside, but then getting a good jump, but never a good angle on Fetisov. Now watch Fetisov as he picks it up. He found Krutov on the breakaway at center ice. Krutov goes to his backhand here. Going right with him was Lindmark. So the goaltenders again starring as they usually do on a high-level play in a tournament.
Beckhoff on a face-off against Anders Carlson, number 20, deep in the Swedish end of the rink. And now Telvin and Homatov do some pushing as they line up to the right of the two centermen. And Koharski comes over, so does Ron Finn, to keep those two apart. Now Beckhoff and Carlson get ready for the face-off. Second period just underway. Soviets leading 1-0. Carlson wins the face-off, and it's cleared out of there by Telvin, but he didn't get it all the way out. Telvin tries again, flips it up on right wing for Bergquist, who shot it to center. Now Telvin firing it over on left wing for Sudergren. He races in, but the Soviets are there first, and Gusarov trying to clear it. Now they do shoot it down into the Swedish end of the rink, and Peter Anderson, number 19, back to get it. Gets it to Bergquist, who flipped it to center. Kamensky knocks it down there. Peter Anderson broke it up. Now Kamensky carried in, and it's offside at the Swedish blue line.
The Labatt player of the game for the Soviet Union will receive a set of 10 Olympic coins, compliments of Canadian Tire, an official supplier to the Calgary 1988 Olympic Winter Games, and a few dreams along the way. Canadian Tire.
The Soviet coach, Tikkanen, he was not happy with the officiating the other night. He gave Kevin Collins, the linesman, a little tug at the bench. I don't think I've ever seen that before while play was underway in any hockey game I've done.
It wasn't even a little tug. He grabbed him with both hands.
Well, I'm being kind. I'm a kind
kind broadcaster.
Here's the Soviets in their own zone. Into center ice for Priakin, number 22, to Samak. Samak in front. Priakin had his skate on it, but never got a stick to it. And Pettersson, number 21, has it for Sweden. Into center ice, Tomekland knocking it back for Pettersson. Now back for Eldebrink, number 25. Anders Eldebrink to Eklund. Shot in. And going back to get it is Fetisov. Shot at the center. Priakin takes over there. Over onto the wing for Himalev. And he's upended on a good body check by Albolin. Pettersson back for Sweden. Long shot, wide by several feet. Larionov for the Soviets. Larionov, number 11. Stick handling beautifully. Can't get around Thomas Janssen. Now Rupe on the far side. Battles with two Soviet players. Gustafsson trying to clear it. Larionov stole it. Larionov put it right through the crease, but quickly cleared away by Naslund. And Kasatonov is back for the Soviets. Kasatonov is checked. Gets it again to Makarov. Broken up at the Swedish blue line, and back comes Janssen. To Gustafsson. Centering. Naslund was there, but was tugged at by Fedotov, but no penalty was called. Here's Makarov. Into center ice. Kasatonov bumped by Gustafsson. Now Rupe getting it in for Sweden. Makarov firing it around on the boards. Rundqvist at the point held it in. And again it is Fedotov firing it down with Carlson, number 6. Lars Carlson for Sweden. Long pass ahead. Sundstrom racing in. Fedotov is there, and it's icing against Sweden. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV.
I think Quebec Nordiques fans are going to really enjoy watching this young fellow play. 23-year-old Tommy Albolin. And there's his check. Just cut the edge of the hip in, but with full speed. Himalev went flying. Kind of a tough kid, too. He started a bench-clearing brawl, or at least a brawl in Sweden last year. They're a rarity. Very high stick to a member of the Brynäs team, which is the team that Mats Naslund came from.
Here the Soviets from the face-off. Trying to work it in front. Back on the point, Kasarov shooting off the blocker or stick of Lindmark and over top of the net. And Telvin, or number 27, the defenseman, Telvin couldn't get it out. Now Sundstrom tries. He couldn't get it out. Semyonov held it in. And Telvin goes back again. Telvin rink wide for Peter Anderson. Ahead to Kent Nielsen. Nielsen flips it through. And going back for the Soviets, Stelnov around in the boards. And the Soviets clear it to center. Kent Nielsen drops it all the way back. And Team Sweden from their own blue line. Anderson to Albolin. Flips it in. Going back, Stelno. Sundstrom into forecheck. Gusarov is there to pick up the loose puck for the Soviet Union. Out on the wing for Priakin. Sergei Priakin. Moving in, a diving poke check by Eldebrink. Priakin still with the puck, however. Trying to center, intercepted. And back comes Sundstrom, number 17, Peter Sundstrom. Dropping it back, Eldebrink shoots one, and that hits Fetisov and bounced to the corner. Fetisov tries to clear it, and Priakin shoots it down near the Swedish blue line. Albolin clears it back up. Now it's cleared in again, and Eldebrink goes back after it for Sweden. Sweden trailing 1-0. Anders Eldebrink, number 25. Up the middle. Pass for Carlson, intercepted, and Homatov, number 15. Checked by Albolin, back ahead on right wing for Södergren, moving in. Trying to center, Södergren shooting, glove, save, Melnikov. On a shot that was screened, but he got his hand up. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV.
Albolin made a terrific move right at the line on Fetisov that allowed Team Canada, or at least the Swedes, not Team Canada, obviously. It's just a little bit before that, and then getting set for a shot. That paved the way to that shot in the glove save, which I think would have missed the net. But Rudnikov not allowing any further play to go on there. Play by Bergqvist.
Sweden on a face-off, trying to hold it in, but the Soviets break out of there. Beckhoff with a long lead pass. Catches his man on the fly, who is Krutov. Krutov shot. Stick save by Lindmark as he went to his knees. Krutov into the corner, trying to get it loose for Beckhoff. One of the Swedish players, Anderson, has lost his stick. Anderson trying to get his stick back. Soviets get the puck. Krutov shot. Beckhoff a drive. He scores! Number 27, Beckhoff. And it's 2-0 for the Soviet Union.
A lot of work in there by Krutov. Watch it again. Krutov is number 9 up against the boards. He's going to get a quick shot away from the boards. That caused a lot of trouble. The defense then started running around on the rebound, and Beckhoff was there to put it in. Here comes the shot. Went through the legs of the defenseman, and Beckhoff quickly pouncing on it as the defenseman there, Lars Carlson, got turned around. And so Beckhoff, the little guy doing a good job right in front of the net, puts it in.
Only 5'8", 155 pounds is Beckhoff, but he just makes it 2-0. And Sweden in the sudden death semifinal game now trail by 2. Here comes Rupe, number 24. For Sweden, Rupe can't get it in front as he's well tied up on the play by Semak, number 18. And then Semak able to clear it to center. Here's a chance for Ben Gustafson. Gustafson dropping it back, comes to Peter Anderson. Anderson firing it around. Rupe in the corner, couldn't get a stick on it. Now Matt Naslund. Naslund squeezed out of the play. That's Rupe pinned in against the boards, trying to get it free. Does, but a Soviet player there to clear it in. Priyakin trying to get it up. Gustafson held it in. Now Priyakin again, number 22. He's checked from behind. We're going to get a penalty here. To Sweden, is it Matt Naslund? I believe so. This is the Levant Canada Cup on CTV.
Matt Naslund going off for hooking. A little too aggressive again in the center ice zone as he checks on Priyakin. Just got the hook in and away he flew. Now the Soviets go on a power play, 2-0. Beckhoff from Krutov at 7:29 for the other goal. Krutov had scored in the first period on the power play.
Soviets are 1 for 2 with the man advantage tonight. The early goal by Krutov coming on the power play, and they really had a chance here to put Sweden halfway to bed.
Look back to the World Hockey Championships in Vienna last year. Sweden was down 2-0 in the game against the Soviets in the medal round and came back and tied that game with a minute and a half left at 2-2 and went on to beat Canada and win the World Championship.
Here's Lariana making it 3-0. Power play goal by Lariana.
Put it right between Lindmark's legs. Larionov quickly getting on that and going through his backhand. Puck came out of the corner very quickly. Larionov just circling as Makarov picks it up in the corner, threw it back out in front. Larionov's parked just off of the side of the net. Where was the defense? And all he had to do was back, hand it in. Again, the puck just came out. And so it's 3-0. And now it's getting to be a very heavy job for the Swedes to try and come back from this.
Makarov and Fetisov get the assist. The power play goal by Larionov. Now Carlson for Sweden. Breaks in and Milnikov made a glove save and then held on to it. It's 3-0 for the Soviet Union. Larionov's goal at 8:37. The second power play goal of the night for the Soviet Union. And this little guy Milnikov showed the folks something here tonight.
Well, you look in the background there he is. That's Tikhonov, the coach. In the foreground there, if you barely see him, is the fellow that they're beginning to tout as perhaps the heir apparent to the coaching job with the Soviet national team. His name is Igor Dmitriev, who played years on the Moscow Selects, which is the Soviet national B team. He was the captain of that team for years, and then coached the wings of the Soviets in the elite league. He's beginning to become a spokesman for the Soviet Union team.
Here's Pervukin dropping one back. It's out in front to Pervukin, and his backhand try went wide as he took the pass from Semyonov. Soviets lead 3-0. And controlling for Sweden is Södergren, number 22. Over to Anders Carlson. He couldn't get anywhere. Södergren tries again, just flips it in. Back for the Soviets. Fedotov, number 14, around in the boards to Pryakin. Pryakin being forechecked. Two Swedes in there, one to take the man, one to get the puck, and here's Bergquist at the point with a shot wide of the net. Now, Janssen couldn't get a shot off. It's cleared to center. And here's Semyonov, number 30, for the Soviets. Semyonov moving in. Fires it around on the boards. Pryakin is there. He's checked, and now Rundqvist works it out on right wing. And here comes Sweden with the long shot by Bergquist, handled easily by Milnikov. Kamensky then tips one. Down the ice for the Soviets, and it's Peter Anderson back for Sweden. Anderson to Eklund. Eklund ahead to Anderson to Pettersson. Good defensive play by Gusarov to break up a 2-on-1. Back is Kamensky. Can't get around Telvin, the defenseman. And then it's cleared out by Sweden, and here's Pettersson, number 21. To Eklund, now to Mikhail Anderson. He's checked at the blue line. Kamensky losing, but Homatov is there. He gets it into center ice, and here's Petov. Over onto the wing. Breaking in is Homatov, but Telvin breaks that up to Pettersson. Pettersson breaking in. Leaves it for Eklund. And the shot went off Fetisov to the corner. Fetisov standing tall defensively. Here's Petov for Pryakin down left wing. Gustafsson there to clear it away. And it's shot away by Sweden with Fetisov back together. 3-0, the Soviets leading. Peter Anderson over onto the wing, and here's Mats Naslund, number 26. Naslund shooting it in. Fetisov trying to clear it. Rupe held it in for Sweden. Now Naslund in to get it. Naslund behind the net to Rupe, number 24. Fetisov, big, strong defenseman, able to freeze Rupe, and then the puck against the boards. And then they push and shove, and we get a stoppage, and we're also going to get a penalty as Andemiko runs into Koharski. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV.
2 minutes for delay of game.
Referee Don Koharski has just called a delay of game penalty on Vyacheslav Fetisov. At this point, I think you're going to have to see the Swedes start to open it up on this power play. They are down 3-0. They really have to score. Here it is, Fetisov on Rupe. Now, as the puck goes down, Fetisov goes down on top of it, and then he reached out and put his hand over top of it. He reached out about 3 times, finally got control of it, and got called for it.
Sweden trailing 3-0 with a chance here on the power play. Shot by Albeline from the point wide of the net, and then it's cleared by the Soviets, and Albeline has to go back and get it. Albeline and Eldebrink are the point men with Gustafsson, Naslund, and Rupe up front. Here's Naslund. Number 26, Mats Naslund, checked by Krutov. Now Rupe into Gustafsson, misses him, and Makarov takes over for the Soviets and clears it out of there. Eldebrink going back. Now Lindmark came out to help him and feeds it up to Bent Gustafsson. Back again for Eldebrink to Rupe. Number 24. He moves in, and the shot is blocked, but it's offside anyway. Magnus Rupe, who's ticketed for the Philadelphia Flyers when the Canada Cup is over.
Well, he'll be heading straight to their training camp. I hope they'll give him a couple of days off, but he's a fella who I think is going to fit into the Flyers system very well. He's not the greatest skater, but he's a good, tough checker, and kind of a guy that keeps coming at you. You've seen a lot of that during this tournament from him. 6'1", 185 pounds, so he's got good size. Grinder and a corner man. has become the kind of player that we never used to see come out of Sweden, but in recent years, you're going to realize the value of that kind of player, as has Team Canada, may I say, who, of course, have kept the Tocketts and the Brent Sutters around and have used them with great effect.
1:10 left in the penalty to Fetisov, as Semyonov now whacks it down near the Swedish blue line, and here's Carlson back to get it. He leaves it there for Thomas Jansson, number 8, the New York Islander veteran defenseman. Jansson shoots it in, but Sweden goes offside. A little over anxious on the play, trying to break in was the other defenseman on the play, Lars Carlson.
Look at the Swedish bench. They have found themselves, after outplaying the Soviets in the first period, suddenly giving up 2 early goals here in the second period. I think they have to be a bit downcast right now because they could have had a lead at the end of the first period. Now it's all uphill.
Here's a line for Sweden of number 9, Rundqvist, number 5, Kent Nielsen, and number 17, Peter Sundstrom. Sundstrom, a former Ranger who signed as a free agent with the Washington Capitals. Rundqvist used to be in the Montreal Canadiens farm system. Here's Sundstrom trying to get it. Kent Nielsen in there checking for Canada, or at least for Sweden. Nielsen trying to work it free. Back on the point. Carlson centered. Deflected by Rundqvist, but it went wide, and Gusarov tries to clear it. Sweden. Jansson at the point. Shot is blocked and cleared out of there by number 4, Stelnov. With Rundqvist back to get it. Actually, it's Jansson getting it, giving it to Rundqvist, number 9. 10 seconds left in the penalty. Rundqvist trying to break in. Asatonov is there. He fires it off. Good play at the point by Carlson to hold it in, but now the Soviets break up 2-on-1. Bekov trying to slide in, and he's upset on the play by the only remaining man back, Thomas Jansson. Now the penalty is up. The Soviets attack, and here's Bekov moving in. Trying to beat Homatov, and Lindmark reaches out and made a glove save and held it. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV.
Just enough for a finish just before the intermission.
Says there's no body contact in international hockey. How about this? Over the line, Carlson, and he is flattened on that play. That was Fedotov. And then coming back the other way, trying to make the little deke is Bekov, and he goes flying.
So some bodily contact here in the second period. Sweden needs some goals, though. They're down 3-0. Let's see how this unit can do. Peter Anderson dropping it to Telvin, firing it up the middle and all the way down into the Soviets' end of the rink. Fetisov back to get it. Fetisov shot it into center ice. Telvin knocking it down. Now, Bergquist back to Peter Anderson. Now to Telvin, number 27. Back to Anderson, headmanning to Carlson, number 20. Number 20 is Anders Carlson. On the boards for Södergren. Back behind the net, Carlson to Södergren. Flipped it right through the goal crease, but nobody there to get a stick on it. Now, Bergquist center, Södergren shot. The rebound and score! Flying flat on the ice. And getting a stick on it was Bergquist.
Just reaching behind him and just getting a stick. You're right, Dan. That was the only thing he could do. And I think he had a little bit of luck going for him. Either that or some of the greatest eye-hand coordination you've ever seen. The puck came out from the corner and a good shot. And it got away from Milnikov. Now watch, he reaches out and boom. Never give up on it. That's the old line. Just reached back. There was a loose puck directly in front of the crease and he knocked it in. And the Swedes got a goal they desperately needed. Bergqvist, his second goal of the tournament.
Well, let's see, and that gives Team Sweden some life. They cut the Soviets' lead to 3-1. Backlund dropping it back to Telvin, now to Pettersson. And Lars Gunnar Pettersson fires it in. Dell now back to get it. That's Eklund into forecheck. Now Larionov for the Soviets. Number 11, Igor Larionov. Centering the big line with Makarov and Krutov. It's dumped in by Larionov. Eklund trying to get away from some forechecking. Gets some help from Albaline. Then manning it into center, but Gusarov there to clear it away. Here's Makarov. He's checked, and now Pettersson shoots it in. Gusarov back for the Soviets. To Krutov, and manning it to Makarov, but Carlson, number 6, is there defensively for Sweden to match Naslund. Naslund can't get it into the zone. Larionov clearing it down. Carlson back to get it. Sweden work it to center. Here's Ben Gustafsson. Trying to hit Thomas Janssen. Intercepting is the Soviet player Womakin. He couldn't get it to Makarov, and out of the goal comes the goaltender Lindmark to clear it away. However, Womakin still in there battling, trying to forecheck. And now Team Sweden have the puck back of their own goal. Semyonov gets it for the Soviets. Over to Makarov. Into the corner to Lomakin. Around on the boards, and Naslund is there to clear it. Makarov couldn't hold it in, and here's Rupe. But Semyonov gets back. Now Rupe trying to battle on the boards, but it's cleared back out by the Soviets. 3.5 minutes left in the second period. 3-1. Soviets leading. This is Peter Anderson leaving it for Thomas Janssen. Janssen for Sweden. Ahead to Sundstrom. Sundstrom number 17, but the Soviets for Buchan there to break it up, and Semyonov now puts it on the boards. And Telvin has to go back for Team Sweden. To Rundqvist, number 9. Rundqvist stick handling in. Wrist shot wide by 3 or 4 feet. Now Telvin shoots one. Melnikov to save. And Beckhoff clears the rebound to Homakov. Peter Anderson breaks it up. And here's Kent Nielsen. Nielsen for Sweden, the former Edmonton Oilers last spring when they won the Stanley Cup. Nielsen gets it again, but can't get around the defense, and now we're going to get a penalty here. An interference call, I believe, against Rundqvist of Sweden. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV.
You'll get a chance to see it at the bottom right-hand corner up against the, there it is. By the way, the goal, Bergqvist scoring from Södergren and Peter Anderson at 14:39 has put Sweden on the board. They trail by 2, but they've also had 2 power play goals scored against them, and they're playing shorthanded at this moment.
That's been one of the keys. 2 of the 3 Soviet goals, the first and the third, coming when they had the man advantage. Here's Carlson upended by Larionov. Van Strucker should have been a penalty call, but none was. And now Albaline flips it into center ice. Larionov dropping it to Fetisov. Fetisov and Kasatonov are the point men, with Larionov, Krutov, and Makarov up front. Their so-called green unit and their number 1 unit. Here's Fetisov. The number 11, Larionov. Now to Fetisov, ahead to Krutov. Long shot. Lindmark makes the save, and Eldebrink tries to clear it. Krutov in there to get it. Dropping it to Larionov. To Kasatonov. Shoots one, loose in front. Backhander by Krutov. Stopped by Lindmark, and then hit with a high stick. And we got a stoppage with 1:14 left in the penalty to Team Sweden's Thomas Rundqvist.
You see all kinds of plays. There's Eldebrink, by the way. For all you Anders Eldebrink fans who thought he wore number 2 earlier in the tournament,
He did.
And so he is now number 25. It would appear that his sweater was torn or something. Shots a goal in this period, even at 6 apiece. Talking about the way the Soviets set up on a power play, watching them coming out of their zone, they throw their 3 forwards all to one side, curling off to, in this case, the right wing, and then hit the middle man as they came up through center ice. Other 2 players then running a kind of a pick at the blue line, which allowed them to get inside the Swedish zone. They have a number of different ways of coming out of their end, but that was one of the more interesting ways.
Now here's the line of Bekoff at center, Momatov and Kamensky on the wings, with Stelnov and Gusarov the point men. Here's Kamensky, one of the heroes for the Soviets in Game 2 at Rendezvous in Quebec City, with center to Kamensky. And his shot that time went wide. Bekoff back to Stelnov. Return to Bekoff, to Gusarov. Shooting, big save, Lindmark, and Eklund comes up with a rebound and clears it out of there. 48 seconds left in the penalty, 1:20 left in the period. 3-1 the Soviets leading. Here's Gusarov, number 3. Tried to fire it in, actually caught by Janssen on the play. And then they're going to whistle it down and rule it was a hand pass. They usually, or quite often, will call a penalty in this competition when you close your hand, and Janssen did for a second there.
And called it for the hand pass, as you mentioned. You see Kamensky go to the bench. What a great second game of Rendezvous he had. 2 key goals, of course. He scored a goal in the opening game of that series as well. So in the 2 games, he's kind of the Soviet star. And that despite the fact that he didn't have a very good season in the Soviet Union. He had a grand total of 13 goals on the regular year. As mentioned earlier in the tournament, the feeling is that he has to get a little stronger. He's young yet. He has to kind of build up a little more muscle, able to handle the heavy going of international hockey.
Now Samyanov, Lomakin, and Kryakin up front. Against Svetlov, not playing tonight. Here's Semyonov. Soviets still in a power play, and it's cleared out of there by Kelvin. Now here's Kent Nielsen trying to go around Fetisov, and Fetisov says no, sir, and comes up with the puck. Fetisov loses to Kent Nielsen. Nielsen trying to move in, lets a shot go. It's off a stick and up over the glass. 6 seconds left in the penalty, 40 seconds left in the period.
Very often you're going to see Fetisov taking off a puck inside his own zone as he was there. Some good hard work by Kent Nielsen, who's on his way to Italy to play hockey next year. He's got a contract that I guess every player would dream of. He's getting $100,000 tax paid and all expenses, and $1,000 a point. Now, on a 36-game schedule, $1,000 a point. We even shocked the truck. Yes, $1,000 a point.
Could wind up with 50 assists and no goals and still be rich, right?
That's right. You know he's going to get 100 points.
36 games, huh? Yeah. Who's his agent? Here's Kelvin back for Team Sweden, firing it all the way down the ice, wide of the target. And back to get it is Pervukin, trying to clear it to center. Team's back at full strength now. We're down to the final 20 seconds of period 2. Here's Peter Anderson for Sweden to number 22, Sudergren. Trying to feed it in for Bergquist, who has the goal, but it's quickly shot right back out by the Soviets. And going back is Eldebrink with just 5 seconds left in the period. Anders Eldebrink. Long shot, and that's the end of the period. Soviets score 2 more. Sweden to add 1. It's a 3-1 Soviet lead in this sudden death semifinal. Could be much different had Milnikov not been red hot in that first period.
Well, he's been very important, and Lindmark in this period had his problems with the giving up the goals. One of them on a power play, the other one to Bekoff. But the last goal scored by Sweden, they'll think about that as they hit the dressing room.
After 2 periods, it's the Soviet Union 3, Sweden 1 here at the Cox Coliseum in Hamilton, Ontario. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV.
A little bit. One thing that we've noticed in this game is the lack of contact. We've had the odd little collision and the odd little hit, but nothing of a sustained nature. And I think Sweden's going to have to start hitting and starting to kind of pin the Soviets back a little bit if they're going to come back and win this game.
That was Eklund into Porchak, but the Soviets break up. Krutov to Larionov. Back checking Gustafsson. Now working it to Matt Naslin. Naslin with a long shot. Lindmark steers that aside. Fetisov trying to clear it out, and Larionov gets it into center. Makarov has Krutov with him. Makarov shoots. Lindmark the save. Grabbed the rebound and skated out of there.
Well, Lindmark standing right in on the Makarov shot. The one thing that Lindmark didn't really have to worry about is somebody coming in with him. He was all alone, freelancing inside the zone. Good shot, but right off the pads, and Lindmark just scooped it up and held on. Peter Lindmark, who's a veteran, totally unnoticed. Part of his problem over the years has been the fact that he's played in the second division in Sweden and has made no effort to leave his hometown and move to a first division club. And so it was very late before he gained any attention in Sweden.
Here's Sweden from the faceoff. Telvin, number 27, into center ice for Rundqvist. He backhands it in. Verbuchen back there to try and clear it. Can't get it out of there. And now at the other side, Fedotov, number 14, does fire at the length of the ice. Peter Anderson going back, and it's going to be icing against the Soviets. You don't see that very often either. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV.
Much parallels the Johnny Bauer story in the NHL for all those years playing in the American Hockey League, and finally Bud Jimlock brought him up to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Everybody said, well, where'd this guy come from? Well, he was there all along. Somebody gave him a chance finally.
Here's the face-off. Carlson getting the draw to Södergren to Janssen. Back to Södergren, but Gusarov is there to tip it away. Now, Bergquist trying to center. Can't get it done, and the Soviets work out of there. Kamensky with a pass off the stick of Pomatov and up into the crowd here at the Topps Coliseum.
I'd like to remind you that the Labatt Player of the Game, Winter Games, Viktor Tikhonov. Is he done as head coach of the Soviet national team or not?
Hard to find out. Hard to find out who the scratches are, let alone who's going to be the coach in the future. Here's Gusarov at the point, shooting one, and that's wide of the target. Still not. Now, Sweden trying to work it out of there. Can't. Janssen back, 2 men on him. And one of them, Homatov, can't get it center. Pekov, the Homatov. Kamensky was open, but they couldn't get the pass to him. And Sweden break back. Carlson, number 20. Gusarov took him out, and the 6 went up there. Now Stelnov, number 4. In on right wing. Trying to break around the defense was Himmelett. Now Pekov. He's checked, and Bergquist fires the puck down into the Soviet zone with Fetisov going back to get it. Fetisov to number 8, Himmelett. He fires it in. Back is Albeline for Sweden. Albeline on the boards. Fetisov had pinched in. He and Eklund fight on the boards. Now Gustafsson around to Mats Naslund. Naslund checked by Priakin. And then again it is Sweden at their own line with Albeline firing it up. Priakin intercepts again into Himmelett. He can't get around the defense, and we're going to get a penalty here. Himmelett got tied up on the play by Gustafsson. And we're going to get penalties against both teams. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV. I think the Russian was getting a penalty and Albeline retaliated.
Team Sweden penalty.
Albeline goes into the penalty box for hooking. There was a delayed penalty being called. Albeline may have been the retaliator on this play. There was a high sticking call. The hook is right there. And this is the retaliation right there that probably, well, that's what caused the second penalty. So there it is. That's the sequence then. The hooking and then the high sticking. So they're still even strength as Semak went in along with Albeline.
So each team a man short. 3-1, Soviets leading early in the third period. Sudden death semifinal game. Buck shot in by Telvin for Sweden. Going back, Kasatonov, number 7. Kasatonov. Trying to flip it to Makarov. Peter Anderson breaks it up to Rundqvist. Rundqvist with Kent Nielsen. Nielsen's shot wide of the target. And then the Soviets break out. Here's Krutov, but Peter Anderson knocked it away. Now Rundqvist over to Kent Nielsen, leaving it for Rundqvist. In on the boards, Anderson shot, Nielsen deflected it. And a good save there by Sergei Melnikov, but he throws it.
Cal Nielsen got himself all alone in front of the net on that play, and then they've got a great deflection. Milnikov came up and smothered any possible opportunity to deflect it into the net by just coming right up on the puck, but Nielsen with a great chance. There's Big Kent, the Magic Man. They called him in Atlanta and Calgary. Went to Minnesota last year and finally on to the Edmonton Oilers, where he played on a Stanley Cup winner for the first time. Kind of a capper to a long 10-year career in the National Hockey League. Here it is, Anderson. That's Nielsen that's going to get in front of the net. Anderson then fed it in. He's behind Fetisov and Kazatonov.
Good save by Melnikov. Now the Soviets, Fedotov trying to clear it. Rundqvist held it in, but now Semyonov breaking up, or Semyonov breaking up, trying to get through the defense. Semyonov, number 30, trying to center. Fedotov into the corner. Fedotov shoots one. Lindmark makes a stick save, and Kent Nielsen working it free for Carlson. He got it to center, but the Soviets take over. Here's Fedotov, who's on the fence with Verbuchen. Into center ice to Lomakin picks it up. Lomakin taking the pass from Semyonov, but couldn't get around the defense. And Janssen has it for Team Sweden. Head to Naslund. Broken up at the blue line by Stelnov. Stelnov with Lomakin. Lomakin shoots. Lindmark, the save. Big rebound. And here's Gustafsson with Naslund to center. 2-on-2 break. Pass in for Naslund. Poked away. There's a drive by Eldebrink that Melnikov handles. And Gusarov starts back. Gustafsson trying him up. Teams are back at full strength now. Drop pass to Fetisov. He moves in from the left point. Fetisov. Lindmark a save on the short side. And Eldebrink comes back for Sweden. Now they flip it in, but Fetisov was there. Here's Fetisov. From defense to offense. Firing it ahead for Beckhoff, number 27. Wrist shot wide by 2 or 3 feet. Bounces to center, Kasatonov. Number 7 for the Soviets. Long pass, Telvin can't knock it down. Kamiensky, number 13, and on goal. Lindmark the save, puck still loose. Then cleared by Sweden. And Anderson, Mikhail Anderson, number 12, fires it to Telvin. Telvin's pass, Kasatonov to Beckhoff. He moves in, was checked. Kamiensky, number 13, taken out on the play. And then a big pile up in the corner. 3 Swedish players, 1 Soviet, and we get a stoppage. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV.
There's Valery Kamiensky. I think he's going to be a pretty good player. Every once in a while he shows you a flash like this as he got around the defense and then over top, and that led to all kinds of difficulties for Lindmark, who was right out of the play at that point. Finally, the defense covered up and cleared it away.
Now Samak out on a forward line with Humalev and Pryakin. For the Soviets, they lead 3-1, 14-11 left in the third period. In a sudden death semifinal such as this, we would have overtime if the teams were tied. But right now, the Soviets have a 2-goal lead. Bergquist jumps the gun and delays the drop of the puck. Now the Swedes win the draw. Carlson getting it back there, and it's controlled by the other Carlson, Lars, to number 20, Anders Carlson. Nice move in across the line to Södergren, number 22. Södergren trying to center. Shot around by Verbuchen. Swedes trying to play more aggressively as they send in another man, but Soviets clear it out anyway. Janssen back to get it. Janssen cleared it to Carlson. Now Himmelab trying to get it, but breaking out is number 22, Södergren. Leaving it there. Pass in for Södergren. Shot right back out by Pryakin. And racing after it. Kumalap centering one. Samak was open, but it bounced over a stick. Eldebrink for Sweden. Cleared it to center ice. Delno carries right back in for the Soviets. Eldebrink trying to tie him up. Stelno couldn't get the shot off and then got upended. And here's Södergren passing for Thomas Johnson. Too far for him. And back to pick it up. Krutov back to get it for the Soviets. Krutov feeding one. Makarov back for the Soviet Union. Makarov can't get away from the forechecker. Now Stelno into center ice to Krutov. Krutov moving in, tried a shot. Lindmark got his hand on it. Krutov to Makarov in the corner. Behind it up. Gustafsson clears it away. Now centered. Larionov shot blocked and into the corner for Naslund. Back comes Sweden. To Eldebrink. That's knocked away. Now Krutov breaks away, feeding Larionov, who's open. Shoots. Lindmark comes out. Makes the save. Drop pass back for Tisov to Makarov. He scores! Makarov left alone at the side of the net. Deflects in for Tisov. Shot from the point.
Well, the first initial rush was what caused the problems for Lindmark. Here it is. And a great play is made off this shot as he failed to corral it. Now the loose puck comes back. Fetisov will spot Makarov off at the corner. There you see number 24. Nobody picked him up. The defenseman was behind the net on the play. Tied up back there by Krutov. And now one would almost say we can start talking about the Soviets in the Canada Cup final again.
4-1. That goal by Makarov makes it for the Soviet Union. Now the puck cleared down the ice by Fetisov, and as Anderson goes back, it's icing against the Soviets. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV.
Number 2 face-off and number 9 Krutov at 7:42.
Big night for the big guys on the Soviet Union. Krutov has a goal and a couple of assists. Makarov has a goal and 2 assists. 2 assists for Fetisov. The Greens are doing their job tonight.
Larionov with a goal as well. And it's 4-1 for the Soviets. Here, as we approach the midway mark of the third period, Telvin for Sweden. Trying to feed it up. It comes back to Telvin. Telvin to Rundqvist, number 9. Thomas Rundqvist shoots it in. Fetisov back to get it. Fetisov breaks out on right wing. 3-on-2 break for the Soviets. Fetisov to Kamensky. Shoots. Short side save by Lindmark. Just got a stick on it. Now center to Kasatonov. He's checked. Soviets holding it in, however. Semyonov tied up, and then it's cleared out of there by Mikhail Anderson for Sweden. Here's Kasatonov for the Soviets. Winding it around on the boards. Soviets get it again, but Rundqvist is there to quickly clear it. Kasatonov back defensively. Now ahead to Homatov, who shoots it in. Lindmark trying to clear it. Knocked down. Here's a chance for the Soviets. Bekov a shot wide. Oh, another try by Homatov wide of the net. Now at the other side for Bukin. Into the corner. Homatov centering. Bekov checked before he could shoot. On the play by Bergquist. And they drop it back to Telvin. Telvin firing it out of there. That's all the Swedish team could do against that pressure of the Soviets. And it's icing against Team Sweden. 10:19 remaining.
We're talking about the Greens and the fact that they're controlling this game. There have been 11 scoring points given out in this game. 10 of them have gone to members of the so-called Green Unit, that World All-Star team of Krutov, Larionov, Makarov, Kasatonov, and Fetisov. And the big men, as we mentioned, are Krutov and Makarov with 3 points each tonight. So it's 4-1. The Soviets leading Sweden. Canada against Czechoslovakia tomorrow night at the Montreal Forum. Be on the air with that one. There's Alexei Kuznetsov, who seems to have been around forever. Only 23, 7 years with the Soviet national team already.
Here's Team Sweden from the faceoff. Eldebrink Getting it over to Peter Anderson into Eklund, but that's offside at the Soviet blue line. 10-10 remaining here in the third period.
Much discussion about a potential exodus of Soviet hockey players, perhaps to the National Hockey League. We've had over the years a number of players who have been allowed to leave the Soviet Union to play in Japan and Austria. Matter of fact, Helmut Balderas is going to play in Japan this year. But when you talk to people of the Soviet team, they are now beginning to say that a fellow named Zubkov is going to be playing in the NHL, and he's going to be allowed. He's a big defenseman, very mobile kind of a guy, but a defensive-style defenseman. And he apparently has been designated as the one that will be allowed to play in the National Hockey League. And we've heard it now from 4 or 5 different sources, so I'm beginning to believe that it's probably true.
There's a chance for the Soviets. Himalev missed the net with the chance, however. Gustafson trying to clear it. Now Bryakin in the corner doing some work. In front, but Eklund is there to intercept it for Sweden. And he fires it down the ice. Number 3, Kusarov back to get it. Ahead to number 18, Alexander Semak. Pass into center ice, gobbled up by Mikhail Anderson for Sweden. This long shot turned aside by Milnikov. And here's Makarov flipping it into center ice. Number 27, Mikhail Telvin for Sweden. To Rundqvist, number 9. Back to Telvin. Sweden trailing by 3 to Sundstrom in center ice. Sundstrom over to Rundqvist. Rundqvist trying to go wide, but he's tied up on the play by Kasatonov. Now behind the goal, Peter Sundstrom trying to freeze it there, along with Anderson. Koharski hollers, move it. And they'll call play and move the faceoff outside the blue line. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV. No. Hey, they ain't worrying about me tonight. I'm worrying about me. They ain't worrying about themselves.
That's the scoring story at this moment. Of course, Wayne Gretzky in the preliminary round has, or at least in the after the first round of the playoffs, has one more game to play. Makarov now tied with Gretzky for the lead in the so-called scoring championship. Marutov moving right in there past Mario Lemieux. Again, Gretzky and Lemieux and company will get their shot at Czechoslovakia tomorrow night in the other semifinal game.
And you'll see that game here on CTV. Here's Larionov breaking in for the Soviets. He's tied up from behind by Thomas Janssen. Now Makarov trying to center dead, intercepted. And back comes Carlson, number 20 for Sweden. Anders Carlson. Kasatonov checked in. Now Sudergren, number 22, centered. Oh, and a big booming shot by Lars Carlson up high off the glass. Good chance, but he was nowhere near the net with it. Fetisov trying to flip it ahead. Here's Larionov. To Kasatonov. And now Fetisov. To Krutov. Into Semyonov, who's in the clear. And he put it right through the goal creases. Lindmark went down and Semyonov missed. And that could have been a 5-1 Soviet lead. Here's Fetisov. Under 8 minutes left here in the third period. And now Gustafson firing one ahead for Tom Eklund. He's tied up on the play, and Krutov is there to clear it back out. Lindmark halfway to the blue line to fire it out for Albeline. Now to Naslund. And Sweden shoot it in. For Buchan, around to Kamiensky. He's tied up as Eldebrink pinches in. Now Eklund in the far corner. Trying to get it to Gustafson to Naslund. He's checked, and taking over is number 14, Fedotov, who cleared it into center ice. Eldebrink for Sweden. Drops it. Now Eklund with 7 minutes left in the third period. Eldebrink into center ice. Albeline firing it in, and it's taken over by the Soviets, and Verbuchen fires it down into the Swedish end of the rink. Soviets leading 4-1 and checking the Swedes to a standstill at this point. Here's Anderson trying to center. Rundqvist was there, but Semyonov had him tied up. Now centered out in front. And Gusarov ties up Sundstrom, and he's going to get a holding penalty, and Sweden will get a power play chance. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV.
Soviet penalty number 3, Alexei Gusarov, 2 minutes for holding. Time 13:28.
Gusarov goes off for holding at 13:28, right in front of the net as he reaches around and just put the clutch there on Peter Sundstrom. And he goes, and out goes Gusarov. And a good chance here as Semyonov broke right in. All alone, just a little extra move. He had somebody in deep with him. They've been able to tip that into an empty net. As it was, he slid it in and out of the crease.
6:32 left. 4-1 Soviets. Sweden with the last-ditch chance here, perhaps, with a power play opportunity. And their power play tonight has not been very good. 0 for 4 with the man advantage. Maybe that says something for the Soviet penalty killers.
That says something on two sides, but more than anything else, as John D'Amico is going through a rather familiar story, they try to get the edge on a face-off with a power play going on both sides of the Atlantic.
Kind of the most noticeable thing you can observe, Ron, from doing a Canada Cup game between two European teams, the quickness with which they play the game. These games could be over in a couple hours.
Well, this one's going to be about 2 hours and 15 minutes. You're right.
Not many whistles. Here's Rundqvist behind the net for Sweden on the power play. To Anderson. Back to the point. They score! Rundqvist, number 18, blasting it in from the point. Or is it Peter Anderson? It's Peter Anderson, number 19.
It went all the way from the blue line, and it was a screen shot. I don't think the goaltender, Molnikov, had any chance at all on this one. So with 6:13 left in regulation time, just a clean shot. He got the pass out, and as it came to him, he just let fly with it. Here it comes. A little bit of traffic in front, but I think that the goaltender may have just blown that one. Good shot from the blue line, but Anderson, as it seemed to spread in front of Molnikov, enough to allow him to see the shot, he put it into the top corner.
So Peter Anderson, on the blast from the point, cuts the Soviet lead to 4-2. Puck shot down the ice. Soviets come into forecheck with Sweden. Into center ice to Bergquist, trying to feed it through to Carlson, but that little block at the blue line put the play offside by the two charging Swedish players. And it'll be faced off at the Soviet blue line.
Another angle of that goal. The pass out from the corner. Here's Anderson just leaning into it. It looked like the goaltender may have been dumped on that play. As the shot was coming in, he seemed to be down very early. He just found the top corner.
Peter Anderson got the goal, but Kyle Anderson and Rundqvist the assist. Power play goal at 13:47 to cut the Soviets' lead to 4-2. Now the Soviets. Samak couldn't get it into the zone. And back and controlling is Janssen for Team Sweden. Got it to the line. Shot back in. Now Carlson into center ice. Sutergren beating Carlson, number 20. Anders Carlson to Sutergren. Now to Bergquist. Put it in front. Knocked away by number 8, Himmelett for the Soviets, but he couldn't get it out. And now it is cleared out. And the puck will come back into Team Sweden's end. The Soviets make a complete change on the fly. Back comes Janssen. Couldn't get into the zone, and here's Makarov with Krutov. 2-on-1 break. Makarov centered, and Anderson, or at least the goaltender Lindmark, used the stick to break up the 2-on-1 and block the pass. Good play by Peter Lindmark. Here's Makarov. Makarov flipping it through to Krutov. Off the side of the net on the short side. Sweden with less than 5 minutes to play. Clear it to center. Kasatonov firing it back in, and he fired it right up into Team Sweden's bench. 4:43 left in the third period. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV.
Well, the so-called greens have been very much a thorn in the side of Sweden. Here's Makarov. Now he gets in too deep. Now he's got a goal mouth pass, and that's where a goaltender can help himself out a lot. He just simply made the defensive play himself, deflecting that puck away from a charging Krutov, who's coming down the right side.
Soviets, by the way, apparently blamed Beloshakin for that tying goal by Gretzky the other night. They felt he should have been able to poke that loose puck out of his crease area.
Well, you should have seen the practice here yesterday. They were going over that goal and over that goal, and almost like a complete replay of it. Tikhonov out there and Beloshakin saying you should have poked it away.
And Beloshakin saying, no, I should have gone to my knees. Here's Anderson. Peter Anderson, who scored that last goal, firing it in. Sundstrom in to get it to Mikhail Anderson, number 12. He set up the last goal. Centers. Rundqvist can't get it. Peter Anderson moves in. And he's tied up back of the goal by Kamensky. Now Sundstrom for Sweden. Sweden with less than 4 minutes to go, trailing by 2. Hold it in. Number 27, Telvin into the corner, falls, continues to battle. Now play is called as Gusarov, and Telvin get into it and get their sticks up.
Well, the one thing you're not seeing out there is a zone defense at all. It's man-to-man. Oh, everybody picked up and nobody getting any chance really to get free. And that's the way it's probably going to be through the final 3 minutes and 49 seconds of this game, at least in the Soviet end. We look at Gusarov heading for the bench.
.349 remaining. The Soviets score. Sweden 2. Krutov, Bekov, Larionov, and Makarov have scored for the Soviets. Bergqvist and Peter Anderson, as you look at Sandelin, the Team Sweden coach. Carlson, Södergren, and Bergqvist, the forward line for Sweden now, but the Soviets break up. Here's Krutov. Now Larionov dropping it back. Kasatonov to Fetisov. Fetisov to Makarov, gets around the defenseman. 2-on-1 break. Makarov shoots. Shot it wide this time. Makarov with a chance, and he faked the Krutov and then shot wide. And back comes Anders Carlson. Flips it in. Fetisov back to get it. Soviets can't clear it. Now on the second try they do as Larionov pokes it down the ice. Lars Carlson, number 6 for Sweden. To Janssen, intercepted by Bekov, in goal. Makarov was open, but he was checked just as he tried to deflect it by Lars Carlson. Here's Krutov. And now it's Naslund falling, but number 6, Lars Carlson, picks it up to Naslund. 2:45 left in regulation time. Shot in by Sweden. Cleared by the Soviets. Bekov. Long right wing pass to number 15, Homatov. His centering pass to Kasatonov. Centered. Kamensky fanned under the edge of the crease. Stelno shoots one. Lindmark. Stick save. Now Kasatonov. His drive off the side of the net. And Naslund has it for Sweden. That's Naslund ahead to Kent Nielsen. Nielsen circling back. Into center ice to Rundqvist. He's checked. Here's Kamensky. He breaks in, and Eldebrink comes across to break it up. Now Bekov taken out of the play, and here's Rundqvist on a 3-on-2 Team Sweden break. Leaving it for Sundstrom. Shoot! Shot wide. Good chance for Sundstrom, and he blasted wide by about a foot. Sundstrom again to Anderson. Bouncing shot wide of the target. Homatov able to clear it. Knocked down by Telvin at center ice. 1:36 to play. Russia or the Soviets leading by 2. Telvin into Södergren. Broken up in Semyonov. Cleared it away, and here's Peter Anderson. Knocked it into center. Fedotov back for the Soviets. Weaving in. Over to Pryakin. Pryakin Fails to shoot. Now does. Lindmark a save. And he held on to it. 1:14 left. 4-2. The Soviets leading. And the Soviets have had a couple of good chances there in the last few minutes.
Well, it's because the Swedes are trying to think offense only. Of course, at this stage of the game and trailing by 2, there's a shot, that kind of a rising shot that got caught up in the padding of Lindmark. And now there's going to be a timeout here. Lindmark is going to go over to the bench. And I think the discussion will obviously be when to come out. Sweden gets control of the puck in their own zone. I think you'll see Lindmark heading straight to the bench. A reminder that, of course, we'll be back on the air tomorrow night with Canada versus Czechoslovakia, coming to you from the Forum, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. And then it'll be the finals. Soviet Union apparently on its way to the best-of-3 final series.
That'll begin Friday night in Montreal. Game 2 back here in Hamilton on Sunday night, and we'll have it all for you here on CTV, plus Game 3 in Hamilton next Tuesday night, a week from tonight, if it's needed.
The key right here, and it'll be interesting to see who Sweden sends out to take the draw. They'll want their best face-off man to control this puck. They can control it enough to get and allow Lindmark to get to the bench for the extra man. They've got 1:14 to get 2 goals, so it's an uphill struggle as it has been throughout this game. Soviets scored the first goal of the game, and that's always important. They look at Igor Dmitriev and the head man, Viktor Tikhonov, behind the Soviet bench.
1:14 left. Face-off deep in Team Sweden's end of the rink. Soviets 4, Sweden 2. Semyonov on a face-off, battling with Carlson. Soviets win it. But now Thomas Janssen gets it back of the goal. And now number 18, Bergquist, trying to fire it out of there. Does to center ice to Södergren, off him over the boards. And we'll have a face-off in the center ice area now with 1:01 to play.
Håkan Södergren. Much a factor for the Swedes in this tournament. They have had some good performances from some people who had not done well in the National Hockey League. One of them, I think, has played very well throughout the tournament. The games that I've seen has been Anders Eldebrink, who really didn't do much for Vancouver or Quebec City and was allowed to go back to Sweden.
I like the look of that Albaline, who's heading for the Quebec Nordiques, too.
The two futures, of course, Albaline and Rupe. We're seeing a lot of them in the NHL.
Rupe hasn't played here in the latter part of this game. He may be injured. Puck cleared in. There goes Lindmark to the bench. 6 attackers. Kent Nielsen dropping it back. Shot from the point. Fired wide by Lars Carlson. 2 Swedes on the boards, including Eldebrink. Now Naslund flipping it in, but they're going to rule the puck had been hit by a high stick, and that stops play with 40 seconds left. Team Sweden with 6 attackers on the ice. The goaltender is on the bench.
Well, for Sweden, this has been a long, hard tournament. 41 days on the road, this team. Starting with the opening of training camp, coming over here, opening the tournament in Calgary. They've played in Regina. They've played in Sydney, Nova Scotia, here in Hamilton, in Montreal. And it's just been a grind. 10,000 kilometers in travel, more than any other team in the tournament. Through 4 different time zones. I'm sure that's had an effect. To me, Dan, through the last part of this game, they simply didn't seem to have any oomph to their game. They shot their bolt, I think, in the first period when they outplayed the Soviets and couldn't come up with a goal.
They're 40 seconds away from being eliminated. They trail 4-2. Gustafsson against Larionov on the faceoff. Won by Gustafsson to Carlson. To the other side, shot right on by Eldebrink, and a glove save by Milnikov. Sweden won the faceoff in textbook fashion. Got it to the left point man, and Milnikov had to make a good save.
Well, the problem there is that on this play, they moved it very well, except one thing. When it got over there was not the quickest shot. It allowed Milnikov to get over there. He teed it up and then shot it. Milnikov was able to move over and make the save. So now the Soviets are going to call a timeout and discuss the situation, what they want to do with the puck inside their own zone. 36 seconds left. Soviets moving on to the final. Interesting that in the Canada Cup, the Soviets have not been dominant. They have made the final 2 of the 4. They won the tournament in 1981 after reaching the final against Team Canada. In 1976, it was Czechoslovakia against Canada in the final. And in 1984, it was Sweden against Canada in the final. There's our next telecast. Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern. Canada tied Czechoslovakia to open the tournament. And like Canada, Czechoslovakia has been getting better as the tournament has been moving along.
Tikhonov has given his instructions to Team Soviet Union. And you see Team Sweden's goal wide open. The goaltender Lindmark is on the bench. 6 attackers. Gustafsson, who won that last face-off, will try again. Only this time it's going to be against Krutov. 6 attackers for Sweden. 36 seconds left. They trail 4-2. Puck dropped. And it's Krutov trying to clear it. Eldebrink held it in. Fires on the boards. Krutov there to battle. So is Larionov. Larionov. Rink-wide pass over to Fetisov, who'll shoot at the open net. And it's blocked by Team Sweden. Kasatonov with 15 seconds left to Makarov. Flipped in, and Eldebrink with a dozen seconds left. Back to get it. Eldebrink clears. Krutov intercepts. Krutov moves in. Shoots in. Blocked by Eldebrink, who took over the goaltender's spot. This one is over. The Soviet Union win 4-2. They'll be in the Canada Cup final against either Canada or Czechoslovakia. And there is the man who saved the day for them in the first period, Sergei Milnikov, the goaltender.
Well, he was the key to the game, I think, because of that first period performance. Soviets came out of the period after being outshot 14-7, leading the game 1-0 on the Krutov goal, and that being a power play goal. But I think Brad Park brought up a very important thing. The special teams here, the difference in the game. The Soviet Union getting